Good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you're logging in from. I'm Ed Shin. I am the CEO and co-founder of Quality Reviews. And for those of you who don't know what we do, we help health systems improve patient experience through real-time patient feedback and service recovery. And it is my pleasure today to introduce Cheryl VanKuren, who is President and Chief Experience Officer of In the Arena Consulting. I'm not going to get too much into Cheryl's background, but I would say most notably, Cheryl is a former US Olympian and attended the 1988 Seoul Olympics and is a three-time NCAA Division I women's field hockey champion. So I wanted to welcome you, Cheryl. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ed, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, I want to just dive right into it. And I'm fascinated by your Olympics and your field hockey history. Tell us a little bit about getting into field hockey in the first place, and being a three-time NCAA Division I champion. That's unheard of in any sport. So tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how you got into field hockey.
Sure. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I live outside of DC right now in Maryland. But actually, my older sister played field hockey. She was about 2 or 3 years older than me, and she was on the varsity team, and I thought that was pretty cool. And so I was like this, younger sibling that hung around her friends, and I was probably, not wanted, but I hung out with her anyway. So I started in high school, and not like athletics today, where you start when you're like 5 or 6. I started like in 8th or 9th grade. And I just loved it. And that's what I just followed that passion, throughout my career at Old Dominion. I was recruited to play Division I field hockey at Old Dominion University. And that program was just starting. Our coach, Beth Anders, was on the 1984 Olympics. And she was new to coaching as well. So she had this ragtag team that she put together, really just natural athletes, and taught us the game of field hockey. And we just, I talk about it. She wanted to have the toughest schedule in the NCAA Division I, because that's the only way you're going to know if you are actually going to, be the best or not. So we had the toughest schedule at Old Dominion, which made us even stronger every year that we played. So it was an unbelievable experience playing for her, for the team. Actually, 4 of us from Old Dominion were selected to participate in the 1988 Olympics. So 4 of 16 were on the US Olympic team as well from Old Dominion. So we had a really strong program, and it was really, really fun to be part of.
That's awesome. I'm curious, this being an Olympic year, albeit a weird Olympic year, Summer Olympics, what was it like going to the Olympics?
It's hard to describe. I think the memory that I have the most is representing our country, because you're walking side by side with some of the best athletes in the world. I remember FloJo, Greg Louganis, they're gold medalists, but we're still playing for the same country, playing on the same, US Olympic team, and walking through, the stadium for the opening ceremonies was probably the most like I've ever, been more proud to represent my country. And to be there side by side with such amazing athletes was unforgettable.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that we could do an entire interview on that as well. But no, that's great. Phenomenal athletic history, and that's a good segue into what you do now. Tell us a little bit about In the Arena Consulting, and I think we'll set that up as in terms of a segue into a little bit more about patient experience.
Sure. I went out on my own, started my consulting firm in 2017. And I've always wanted to start my own business, my own consulting firm. And it was time for me to do that, because I really wanted to really help organizations that really needed me most, because the work of improvement and patient experience is really hard work. And I want to help as many organizations, as many leaders, to improve,